You're listening to 419 Education and Training Need to Connect podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Need to Connect with your host, myself, Devonna Willis with 419 Education and Training. And today we have Monique Blake. She is a speaker and instructor at the conference, and she will be introducing herself to you and all what she does, and we'll start that conversation. But first, let's just get started with our church announcements, or our conference announcements, as I call it. So number one, we are 2 weeks away. So 2 weeks away, we're so excited. We're revving up for it. There's so much going on in the back end, but it's going to be great and we're excited for it. So if you haven't gotten your shirt yet, the I Am Black History shirt, and then on the back it says, Black Massage Therapist, please get your shirt so you can wear it at the conference, so you can represent. Also, that's on the website. Also, just know, making sure that you have all the things you need for the hotel. And we're going to have vendors at the conference. So please be ready to pay for some goods and services at the conference, because if they're coming to support us. Right? And so we want our word to get out that this is a good investment for them to do for next year and the years to come. So please come regarding that. And now we're going to get started. So hello, Monique. How are you?
Hello, Devonna. I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for the invitation. And I'm excited. I need a t-shirt.
Okay.
I need to get my t-shirt.
Okay. It's on the website, www.blackmassagetherapist.com.
Got it. I'm going to work on that so I can rock it at the conference.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So tell people about you and, where you are and all the great things that you do.
Well, my name is Monique Blake, and I am in Miami presently, which is what I call verified paradise. And I have been in the wellness sector for 27 years, almost 30 years. And I started out as a massage therapist back in 1997, to be exact, February 7th, 1997.
Oh, you remember the date.
Yes, because it was such a great space for me to be in. It was a discovery of what I wanted to do as far as my purpose in life.
Okay.
I'm stepping into this wellness state. So I do call myself a well-being educator and lifestyle educator, lifestyle designer, and a spa strategist. Mm-hmm. I do spend a lot of my background is that I have spent a lot of time in the spa industry, mm-hmm. in a training capacity or a management capacity. But I've never, ever given up my massage roots, ever. My license is still active.
Okay, good.
I'm still hands-on, as they say. So I'm absolutely loved my journey to massage. Mm-hmm. I tell people it started at 4 when I wanted to do something to help people get better.
Aww.
And
Were you always in Miami when you was there figuring out as a young Monique?
I tell people that my parents are not in the military and I'm not on the run, but I have just moved so many places. Oh. I started originally from Jamaica, mm-hmm. but how I got to massage very quickly mm-hmm. was that I knew that I wanted to be in some capacity helping people mm-hmm. to get and to facilitate that for them. And so at a very young age, growing up, that, kind of was like the choices were being a nurse or a doctor. So I decided I was going to pursue medicine. Okay. And I went all through high school volunteering. I was a candy striper. I was always helping people, even at home. And I got to my senior year mm-hmm. in high school. And one of the mandatory requirements for anybody that was going into the medical field was that we needed to join a club called the Future Medics. And they put me in the cancer ward at the
Oh,
hospital.
wow.
And I was so turned off by how cold the approach was to health and healing. And I remember coming in and asking, so how's Mrs. Green in room so, you know,
Right.
how's Mrs. Green doing? And they're like, who? And I said, Mrs. Green, room 224 or something. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. And so I jumped off into college completely confused because I didn't know what I was doing. I wasn't going to be a doctor anymore.
Right.
Which was great because I got to study so many other things that I wanted to study.
Right. I got a question really quick.
Yes.
So, first day in this medics club, right?
Yes, Future Medics.
Future Medics Club. And the first assignment was the cancer ward with no preparation or just thrown in.
And I was okay with everything. Like I had to take blood samples here, I had to take urine there. None of that bothered me. It was just the sterility of the environment. And I'm like, I don't know how anyone heals in this kind of environment when there was no
lack of patient care.
Love and
right. Lack of patient care.
So I ended up, studying English. I got an opportunity to work in Japan for 3 years.
Oh, wow.
And while I was there, because I tell people I'm a child of the Caribbean, I never dream of white winters ever. It's never, if I do, it's a nightmare, right? So I would go to Thailand every winter. And I would go to the temple and I would get massages. And about my third winter there, I saw a sign that says, we'll teach. So I said, I will learn. And I studied Thai massage at Wat Po.
Okay.
When I came back to the States, I remember visiting my French teacher from high school. She was a mentor for me. And she says, well, what are you going to do? I said, well, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do now. And she goes, what did you enjoy when you were over on that side of the world? I said, I really enjoyed doing massage. She says, I have a massage teacher for you. She's my massage therapist.
Okay.
Give her a call. So in less than 24 hours, I was in massage school.
Hello, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share our 419 Education and Training Need to Connect podcast. So wait a minute. So how long was the Thai class you were taking? Since you were only there for a short time?
It was probably at that time, this was many years ago, it was 2 weeks.
Okay.
And then I went back and did another 2 weeks to do
school.
Next level.
When you were there and you were learning, because you had no hands-on experiences, but you know, when you're a child and it was natural, did they tell you like, oh, you're natural, you really understand it? Or how did it go?
There wasn't much conversation because my Thai was non-existent and their English was
okay,
but not. So there was really truly a hands-on learning.
Oh, wow.
I know it's changed a lot now and it's evolved. A lot of people are doing that. But when I was there back in the early 90s, it was really, this is the book. This is your teacher. You spend all day with this teacher for 2 weeks and they go over every point and you do it until you can do it to him, then you can do it to someone else, and you just keep practicing until they say you're good.
Okay.
And you get your certificate.
Sometimes the old school way is always good to learn.
Yeah, and it's massage, it's hands-on, so that's a key part of the education. It was great. And then I ended up going into massage. I got licensed back in 1997 and practiced, I always had an affinity for the spa and the luxury sector, so I was always in the 5-star environment.
Were you back in Florida?
Yes, I was back in Florida. I had to think, where was I? Yes, I was back in Florida.
Right, because you said you traveled, so I'm like...
So I was back in Florida, and then finally I had an opportunity to teach. So, I was teaching English before I got into massage, and it felt just like a wonderful way to fuse the two things that I enjoyed, teaching and massage. So I did that. And a few years in, I was thinking about how can I broaden my scope of practice. And I had a young lady who was a student come in with an ad, and she said, "This is a new school and they're teaching Ayurveda. Would you please call them and find out? I'm interested in going, but I want you to find out information for me." So, sure, no problem. So I called, and, in the end, I ended up going to study at the school for 3 years.
Oh my goodness.
And she never went.
Really?
So she didn't.
See how God, he uses other people to make things work for you, even though that wasn't even in your wheelhouse. You didn't even think about that. Why didn't she go? Do you know?
It just, I actually don't even remember why she didn't go. I always felt in the end that this was for me.
For sure.
She was just the vehicle.
That part.
Yeah. Yeah. So I ended up studying Ayurveda here in Miami, and then we had to do an internship in India. And so I had to go to India to do the internship. And that was quite an education and quite a trip.
Wow.
But bottom line, it is for me, Ayurveda is really, when we talk about the word holistic, I don't even like to use it. But if you really want the true understanding of the word holistic, I always think of Ayurveda.
Okay.
Because it looks at every aspect of a person, and it looks at them in this moment. So I always tell people, if you go to a practitioner and they assist you, then you need to go back in 3 months when the seasons change, because you're not the same person. And you're not separate from nature. That's one of the fundamental concepts in Ayurveda, is that we are not separate from nature. We cannot separate ourselves. When seasons change, there's a different energy that impacts us. There are certain things that we need to be in balance with that season. That's just one of the core concepts. So so much of it resonated with me. It was a really great healing journey for me personally,
right?
To be able to share it with others.
So
and
how was it adopted when you came to the States and started working on people with it?
I really think that people here resonate with Ayurveda because it's very simple.
Okay.
And then when you understand the core concept of it, it makes sense. Like, one of the things that we were asked in Ayurveda school was to create we know the definition of Ayurveda and we know what it means, but we're asked to create our own definition. Like, how are we going to explain it to people? And for me, the two things that it came out to is that it's simple and it's sensible.
Okay. Simple and sensible.
Simple and sensible. Simple in that you are a unique being. We say that. We say it from a scientific level, or everybody's DNA, even if you're a twin, but we don't really live that as an experience. But with Ayurveda, you do, right? This is my body type. This is who I am. And when I live my life a certain way and I step out of balance, this is what I need to do to return to my unique self. It's that simple.
Okay.
It's sensible in that if you're doing too much of something and you become out of balance, then you need to do the opposite to bring you in balance. And so that makes sense. Even though you don't know anything about the foundations of Ayurveda, you can walk away with that understanding. That's sensible.
Yeah.
If there's something in excess, you want to bring it down.
Right.
If there's something low, you want to bring it up. So, and their definition of health also makes a lot of sense to me. So, here in the West, we think about having a disease, or we talk about health as the absence of disease.
Okay.
Where, if you go to your doctor and he takes your blood pressure and it's in normal range,
Right.
you get the blood work and everything is in normal markers, then you're healthy. There's no tumor, there's no disease. In Ayurveda and Eastern philosophies, it's a little different. You don't have to have a manifestation of a disease to be out of balance, right?
Okay,
You
so
don't
you don't have to present with it.
know
Okay.
for you to be out of balance. So that's what makes it a great tool as a preventative tool, because you don't have to wait to be
Right.
sick.
They're like, yeah, okay, preventative. I get it. I get what you're saying. Like,
So
why
it's
wait? Why wait till you're out of balance? Let's just keep health and wellness, keep this practice. It's a lifestyle behavior. This is how you should live.
exactly,
Got
this
it.
is how you should live. It is definitely a lifestyle. It is definitely holistic. It looks, it does not look just at the physical. It looks at the mental, it looks at the emotional, it looks at the energetic, it looks at the spiritual, it looks at you on all levels. And it makes it clear that, like even, so for example, let me give you a quick example. There is a detox. It's called panchakarma. And I call it, rename things, I call it the ultimate detox.
Okay.
One of the reasons I call it the ultimate detox is because you are not just abstaining from certain foods. Just, it's not just a detox that's based on nutrition. In Ayurveda, they believe that you digest not only with your mouth, but with your senses. So if I'm going to be detoxing, I need to refrain from watching, shows or things building or edifying. I need to stop listening to gossip. I need
Right.
to stop listening. I need to stop speaking. All of these things we're digesting,
Right.
right? So we need to step away from that. And the reason I want to talk even just a little bit about the detox is because this is where a lot of the massage aspects of Ayurveda come in.
Okay.
So a lot of the touch therapies that is done with Ayurveda, there is a massage, Abhyanga, that's a part of the detox, one of the core elements of the detox
Okay.
system. So we as massage therapists, we can do that. There's another therapy called Shirodhara,
See, I've
which is,
heard both of them and I can never pronounce neither of them.
okay, well, we'll do it together right here. Shirodhara.
Shirodara.
Yes. And it's simply
Shirodara.
a stream of oil on the forehead. It's a very powerful treatment. And as massage therapists, we just need the equipment. We could do that as well. So you have those are two of the treatments that we could use as massage therapists.
Okay.
So, yes, go
Quick
ahead.
question. So during the class now, are you going to be providing, because I know that's going to be a question, are you going to be providing any oils for them, like little samples, or should they be bringing their own? And you'll have like a list of recommendations so that we could put that on the website.
Yes, I can give you a list of recommendations that they can do. I want to, when I do workshops, it has to be really interactive. So I do to have an
Right.
experience. We're going to be talking a little bit about what the different body types are. And even though as massage therapists, we're not going to necessarily be Ayurvedic practitioners, you can still use this little bit of very core foundational knowledge
Okay.
and can assist you with your guest, because you're going to be able to look at them and recognize something about them. And you'll be able to simply say, well, this looks a little like this would be a good moment to use this to balance that.
Okay.
So there's no expectations that you're going to be an Ayurvedic practitioner,
Right.
but you will walk away with an awareness of how to view your guest in a new way.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, right? So let's be realistic. It's a 2 hour course. You're introducing some people to it. Some people already probably know about it. But at the end of the day, it's going to lead them to wanting more and learn more and take a full class with you in the
Yes.
future. So, yeah, they should not expect to be a Ayurveda. I always have to think about it before I say it.
You said it
Practitioner.
perfectly.
Thank you. So for you, what do you do as your daily practice since it's a lifestyle behavior?
There are a couple of things that I absolutely will not ever give up. So, as a daily practice, one of the things, and that is a core component of health and healing and balance in Ayurveda, it's called your daily practices,
Okay.
your dinacharya, right? And a part of what really works for me is oil pulling. And I don't know if you have somewhere, I have a video that I did that I could share. It's oil pulling, and
Okay.
it's a way to clean the oral cavity.
Oh,
Um,
oral. Oh, so what do you do?
it's you take a tablespoon of oil,
Okay.
and the best oil will depend on your body type or what you're practicing. But in tradition, they've used sunflower oil or sesame oil.
Okay.
It's very popular now with people using coconut oil. But again, if we're going to get really personalized, customized, it would depend on your particular body type. And
Okay.
so you're going to take a tablespoon or a little bit more than a tablespoon, you put the oil in your mouth and you literally pull it through your teeth. So it's called oil pulling.
So you put it
Uh,
in your mouth and then like kind of spitting it out.
you pull it through.
I'm gonna have to see what that is.
Okay, well, I'll write it down and make sure
Yeah,
that I
send
do
me,
a
send me the
demo.
video because this is all new. So I'm pretty much some of the people who's going to be watching this. We're like, oh, like I come from the medical side of things, but I
Yeah.
do like the Eastern methods. You know, when I learned massage myself, we had to learn Eastern and Western simultaneously because I went to school in New York, so it was the Swedish Institute. So you learn Eastern 101, you learn Swedish 101, and so forth and so on. You know, I definitely believe in the meridians and your hara and stuff like that. And, you know, going to an acupuncturist. I do believe in certain things. So, but I've never heard of that before. So this is new to
Well,
me.
I'm going to do a demo at the
Yeah, at the
conference.
conference. Good. So I'll make sure
Pulling.
I'll peek in there. All right. So
Yeah.
what else do you do as your daily
So the oil
practice?
pulling is really key. It's a great way to just take care of your oral health. And in Ayurveda, it's not limited to oral health. They believe it's pulling toxins from the body. The second thing that is really key for me is the Abhyanga. So you can have someone do it for you when you're going through the detox, but it's something that you do for yourself every day. And you warm just a little bit of oil. And again, that depends on your body type. I like to add essential oils, which again depends on your body type. And you start from the leg and you move all the way and you oil your body. And at the same time, you're anointing your body. So
Okay.
it becomes this kind of really nurturing act of self-care.
Now, when you're putting it on, is it like you're like kind of brushing it, or is it just like how you would normally put like lotion or oil on? Are you doing like, is it like a lather, or is it just like more of like a brush up?
Well, you start off the Abhyanga in the morning with a dry brush. So you dry
Okay.
brush
Okay.
to help to exfoliate the skin and move the lymph, and then you do the oil massage. It's just really just applying the oil.
Okay.
And one of the differences, or one of the challenging things for me when I was doing Ayurveda, is that we always learn to move up. Our strokes are up, and Ayurveda believes the strokes go in the direction that the hair grows on the body. So it's a tendency to do that.
Away from the heart.
Yeah, but it's very gentle. It's a very gentle thing. So that's one of the other thing that is a daily ritual for me with Ayurveda. I was an insomniac for about 40 plus years. All my life, I was an insomniac, even from a child. And it was the only thing that allowed me to end insomnia. And so it had me, there's a certain time that every body type should be in bed. So It's very much about following the circadian rhythm. You get up with the sun, you should
Right.
be up and about at a certain time, depending on your body type. And you should be going to bed with the moon. And there's a certain time that is ideal for your body type too. So when
Now,
I
at the
change that,
body type, really quick. So, is the body type, is it like ectomorph, endomorph, mesomorph? Is that the type of body type, or is there a different type
it's
of body type for
similar.
them? Huh?
It's a similar concept. Like
Okay.
some people have taken those types and kind of, made a similarity with the three Ayurvedic body types. But I like to be a little bit more traditional. So the words are Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. Those are the three body types in Ayurveda. And I will explain a little bit about that because they're an accumulation of certain types of elemental energies.
Okay.
So when we talk about air and ether, fire, water, earth, it's accumulation of those that create this energy that we call the body type
Got it.
or the dosha.
Now, another question. So, if someone's coming in for the first time, they're coming in for a session, never had it before, do you make a specialized health history form asking
Yeah.
specific questions so that after you read it, then you could kind of determine their body type before their session?
Yes. So there's a questionnaire and it's very in depth. We're going all the way back to childhood. We go back to any concerns that you have and when it started, not just where it is right now. Because a lot of times things they don't just arrive,
Right.
they've been consistent. So we look at that. There is an examination of the eyes, the face, the body, the tongue. Tongue gives a lot of information
Yep.
about your level of toxicity. It gives you information about the organs, every organ in the, well, I should say every organ, but the major organs in the body. It gives information about the spine. It gives information about emotional health.
Right.
So that to be my party trick. I would go to
Good.
different things and do tongue reading.
Open up your mouth. Let me read your tongue. Now, the
Yes.
acupuncturists do this, like the ones who's
Yes.
been trained. I know we have a lot of I'm in Arizona, and so we have an acupuncturist school here. And so yeah, so that I was introduced to that when one of my friends, I would go to her and part of the exam would be stick your tongue out, let me read it. Oh, it's like heat. If I was like feeling like I was getting sick or whatever, she would read it and explain to me what was going on. And I'm like, really? Me, I'm just like, and let me see. So I would pull out, she had a mirror because I wanted to see what she was looking at so I could have an idea. And so she would treat me as such. But yep, I'm used to that. Now, with that said, with learning Ayurveda, do you find that acupuncture or Eastern medicine providers use that in their practice, or do you feel like it's a separate entity?
You mean as massage with massage?
Yeah, no, like acupuncturists, would they go to a training for Ayurveda because some of the similarities?
That's a great question. So you remember I said that I was kind of looking for ways to expand my scope of practice. And initially I was thinking of going to acupuncture school, but I wasn't able to because of the hours. There was a school here and they only had set hours and I wasn't able to do
Okay.
that. So when the student came and gave me the information, it was interesting to me because I was able to fit into their schedule, and it kind of gave me that Eastern base that I wanted.
Because it
So
sounds like it.
yeah, so they're not exactly the same, but they do have similar things like the tongue evaluation, the pulse evaluation. Even in Ayurveda, they don't necessarily use the needles like acupuncture, but they do have marma points, which are these energetic points as well. So there are some similarities. There's a focus on the pharmacopoeia. There's a huge focus on herbs in Ayurveda, the same as in acupuncture. But I think just historically, back in the 70s when Nixon opened up the relationships with China and some of the Eastern philosophy and approaches to medicine came to the US, I think that really kicked off this kind of more formalized state that you find acupuncture in now.
Right.
They had a lot more head start when it comes to formalizing their field and having a board exam. Ayurveda is a little bit behind in that respect. And, I work with my mentor, one of my teachers, and she's working on having that kind of formal recognition of Ayurveda on that level as well. So yes, they are similar, not the same, but it's similar in that there's this kind of Eastern approach to health, following this philosophy of being a part of nature and understanding that we are connected to nature.
So how does this translate to the Black community, right? So how do you introduce something like this that it wasn't part of our upbringing per se? How do you introduce that to the Black community? And if you have, what's the feedback you receive?
Well, I think that even though we weren't necessarily brought up with this, that the Black community has a natural affinity for natural healing. Everybody has a grandmother who sent them out to the yard to pick something, or if they were sick, she made a certain type of tea. I think it runs in our blood that this approach to healing should be natural. And particularly in the US, where there has been such a history of, rightfully so, not being able to really trust the medical community. It still goes on, but historically there has always been this kind of experimenting people of color that we've never really had this kind of connection with the traditional American medical approach. So I don't think that I've never had any challenge sharing this information with people in the Black community, people of color, because on some level, it's something that resonates with them, either from just like a cultural, going back to our ancestors.
Right.
Or just knowing that we've always had to seek an alternative to the medical tradition.
Okay. So with that said, because it is traditional, is there any innovative techniques that someone can use in this, or not so much?
I think that natural healing is innovative in itself because we've stepped away from so much of it for so long. When it comes to innovation, I think perhaps what fits more in the model of Western medicine is that there's a lot more research, published research on Ayurveda. I think that's great. It's not something that I necessarily need because I know it works, but I understand to be in this space of healing and health, that it's a necessary innovation.
Okay, I like that answer. But on that resources, I have a question. This is one of the last questions. Are there any specific educational resources, books, or courses you would recommend for ongoing professional development?
Yes, and I will definitely have more when I come to share. There are different people out there, and what I would say before I give you the name of the person I highly recommend, that I would love to see more people of color embrace modalities like Ayurveda.
Okay.
When you look out in the Western world and you see what is commanding the dollar for healing and health, right? When it comes to people here spend billions of dollars for complementary and alternative medicines and practices. And most of those modalities originate in countries where it is people of color that have innovated. But sometimes you would forget when you look out in the Western world and seeing all the thought leaders in these spaces
Not look like you.
that don't look like the people who, for 5,000 years, curated this modality. So I would encourage people of color, people, the Black community, to step into this space and hold that space for the generations of people that dedicated their time, sweat, the rishis sitting in meditation, channeling this brilliant information from the universe
Right.
to honor them in that way. And with that, one of the people that is really highly respected, and I've had the opportunity to take, a class here with him, and his name is Vasant Lad.
Say it again.
Vasant.
Masant with an M or
V is
Vasant?
Asant.
Vasant.
And the last name is Lad, Lad.
Vasant.
L is in Larry, A is in Apple, D is in David. And he has, one of the things that is really great about him is that he has books that you can get on Amazon or wherever you get your reading resources that are very accessible to someone who has no experience in Ayurveda. And on the other end, he has these incredible textbooks that really dive deep. So if you're curious, you can start at the very end of that spectrum and just getting an idea, because Ayurveda looks at everything. It looks at color therapy, it looks at food, it looks at herbs, it looks at your astrology, everything. It looks at your home. What you think of feng shui, there is a Indian equivalent called, oh my gosh, it just slipped out of my head. Oh my gosh, I apologize. I will have it.
It's okay. You'll have it. You'll have it for the conference. But
Yes,
you gave us a world of lots of information in this short period of time. And so we are so grateful that you're joining us for the conference, and we can't wait to see you. And I really thank you for taking time to come on this podcast today. And thank you again.
Thank you so much. I will see you in October, and I'll be rocking my shirt before October.
Okay, sounds good. All right, everyone. Well, we'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.